Today we're taking a look at towns in the US with the best main streets. Here in the United States, there are hundreds of small towns with cute main streets that sort of take you back to a simpler time, or a better time in this country's history. Sometimes they're called Main Street, other times they're called First Street, Broad Street, Church Street's really popular, or any other name a town comes up with. Regardless of the actual name, the locals call it or think of it as Main Street. Today we're looking at the 10 most amazing small town main streets in the US. A couple things. Are these the only 10 or are they the best 10? Probably not, but they are the 10 best I've been down. And I've been down a lot of main streets in this country. I want to do more of these videos, so let me know in the comments section. You know, if you have one, if you live in one, or you know of one, I'd love to do some research on it. Don't email me, don't DM me on Instagram. Let us all know in the comment section below, and we'll take a look at them and maybe they'll make it onto the next video. Got it? Get it? Good. Let's take a look. Number 10, Stowe, Vermont. Stowe is a town in Vermont, and it's nicknamed the ski capital of the East. It's home to Stowe Mountain Resort, a ski facility with terrain on Mount Mansfield and Spruce Peak. You know it's a nice place to go when you see a bunch of Instagram models either going there and taking pictures or faking it. This is how it works. Take a picture in, let's say, Trenton, New Jersey, do a little Photoshop, bam, you're in Stowe, Vermont. But Stowe is like a Four Seasons resort destination. It's really known for its skiing, but in other months they have great mountain biking, hiking, and world-class spas. I don't know how you get a world-class spa. I mean, a spa is a spa, so it's nice. Is that a world-class one? This is a great community. They have festivals, great shopping, great dining, and activities for everyone in every single season, not just winter. I love this place. Even though it's been a handful of years since I've been there, I doubt much has changed. The village of Stowe sits along the Little River, where it is joined by its west branch. Their main street is Vermont Route 100, and this is a cute little downtown main street. Plenty of shopping, great places to eat, great places to get some coffee. Even though it's pretty much a resort town, it is still a nice small town. They only have a population of about 600, but that swells pretty good when it's ski season or just about any season, but their permanent residents, it's about 600. The town was first settled in 1785 and was originally called Mansfield. It was renamed Stowe in 1810 after the town of Stowe in Massachusetts. The one in Massachusetts doesn't have an E. Stowe became a popular tourist destination in the early 1900s, and the first ski lift was built in 1936. Stowe Mountain Resort opened in 1938 and quickly became one of the most popular ski resorts in the United States. If you want to buy a house here, you better have some money. They have a couple older homes here that are going for under $800,000, but a majority of the homes here are 1.5, 1.8, stuff like that. They've got quite a few that are in the 3 and 4 million area right now. Now, one thing I should mention before we go on, these are in no particular order. It's just my opinion on these, and these are 10 I really liked, and I'm putting them up here. Number 9, Elizabethtown, Kentucky. Elizabethtown sits right outside of Fort Knox, Kentucky, which is south of Louisville. In 2015, I went to a Army buddy's retirement at Fort Knox. He's from Nashville. Afterwards, we were going to drive down to his property in Nashville, and a bunch of us had a party, but I had to go through Elizabethtown because of the movie that was out in 2005, and it's a cute little town. Now, over the years, the town is spread out, and it gets kind of, loses that small town vibe outside of the area around the county courthouse, which is in the middle of a traffic circle where Main Street and West Dixie meet. The old courthouse in the middle is great, but walk down West Dixie or Main Street and you get that small town Main Street vibe. The whole area is like that. That courthouse, though, is an amazing building. Looks like one of the centerpieces for a Reese Witherspoon movie back in the early 2000s. You know, she falls in love with like the local fireman who's got too much hose and a washboard stomach. One thing I've always noticed about Kentucky small towns, I mean, as long as it doesn't get into the villages and burgs, some of those are like run down, but the towns and the cities, the suburbs of those are always pretty nice. For the most part, I'm sure you're going to be able to find some cases where it's not, kept up at all, but for the most part, a lot of these homeowners keep their houses up pretty good. Now, I'm comparing it to other states. Get down to Mississippi and Georgia, you can run into some small towns where the whole town should be condemned. Elizabethtown is a very diverse community with a population of about 30,000 residents. It's kind of a historic place. They had a Civil War battle here and a few other things went on. They have a historic state theater. You got Freeman Lake in town. It's a cute downtown with, the whole city kind of getting bigger. But their main street, which is West Dixie, is pretty cool. If you decided you want to move to Elizabethtown, it's got a wide range of prices for everyone. They got some older rundown homes that you can get for around $200,000. Decent homes start around $300,000 and they go all the way up into the millions. Number 8, Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. Harpers Ferry, West Virginia is in the northeast section of West Virginia where the Potomac and the Shenandoah rivers meet. It's also right across the rivers from both Virginia and Maryland. This is a historic city with a lot of people going there just to see the historic sites. They had a lot of Civil War stuff go on here, including famous anti-slave guy John Brown. Yeah, he raided this place. He didn't raid it to free any slaves. There was a arms depot here and he wanted to get all the weapons. Harpers Ferry is a beautiful small town surrounded by some of the most amazing scenery you'll find in this part of the country. There are plenty of things to see and do here, and it's kind of one of those places where local high schools will go, or middle schools, elementary schools, whatever, for field trips. But they also see a lot of tourists, and if you're a tourist and you're looking for that cool little Main Street USA in Harpers Ferry, you're going to find that on High Street and Potomac Street. That's right near the tip of town, and it's pretty cool. A lot of old buildings here, and now they're like coffee shops and inns, things like that. This is also a nice place to bring a good camera. The Appalachian National Scenic Trail is here. It goes right across this rail bridge. There's a footbridge next to the rail bridge, but the rail bridge is amazing. There's actually 2 rail bridges. Now, if you wanted to move to Harpers Ferry, there's nothing for sale in town, and there hasn't been for a while. But if you want to go outside of town a little bit, you can find anything from $330,000 to $850,000. Wide range there. Number 7, Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania. I was here 6 years ago. Jim Thorpe is in northeastern Pennsylvania between Wilkes-Barre and Allentown. And it doesn't have much to do with the famous athlete Jim Thorpe. They just kind of named it this when they merged 2 little villages that were across the river from each other. Jim Thorpe had started his athletic career about 100 miles south of there. And when they merged, it was 1954. Jim Thorpe was on everyone's mind because he had just died the year prior. So they talked to the family and his widow, and they all said yeah, and they eventually moved his body from Oklahoma to here and put it in a mausoleum. Over the years, different people and organizations have come forward and said this isn't okay and they want to move back to his birthplace of Oklahoma, but he's still there. I'd get into it, but the whole thing has more plot twists than an art house erotic thriller in Paris. But Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania is a cute small town. It's very touristy, and they even have a scenic railway. Now, the whole place is a pretty cool place to just visit, but if you want to see their best Main Street, you want to go across to the west side of the river and walk up West Broadway. Find some great wine there, coffee places, hotels, bed and breakfast, that type stuff, and that's also where you'll find the railway. Great hiking trails in this area too. If you want to buy a house here, they're reasonable. I mean, you can get a decent looking older home for about $250,000 all the way up to $400,000. After $400,000, they get kind of nice. So it's definitely got some options here for people looking to move to Northeast Pennsylvania. Number 6, Camas, Washington. Camas, Washington is pretty cool. I mean, it's east of Vancouver, Washington, right across the Columbia River with one of Portland, Oregon's worst suburbs, Gresham. Luckily for Camas, there's no bridge that goes right there from Gresham, so they're good to go. Last summer when I was doing the small town tours, which I'm about to start back up, we did Camas. It's got a great main street. Their main street is called Northeast 4th Avenue, and it's pretty cool. They've got an old theater there. They got great shopping, pubs, pizza place, great Mexican food restaurant called Nuestra Mesa. I probably pronounced that wrong. Sorry if I did. If you want to see a town that has done their main street or their downtown area right, Camas is a perfect example. The rest of Camas isn't the greatest. I mean, they do have some really nice areas. They've got a little lake in town. Actually, a couple of them. They're glorified ponds. Their local football team or all the sports is called the Papermakers. That's kind of sad. But it is a really nice main street. We're just going on looks alone and how it looks and, just really nice main streets and downtowns. Anything I do about Washington State, you have a bunch of jackaloons get in the comment section that just how bad Washington is. It's not that bad. Go down to Skid Row, LA, go to Detroit, then tell me how bad Camas is. Camas can get expensive. You're probably going to have a hard time finding anything for under $700,000. They have some really nice riverfront property that gets up into the millions. One of them's like $5.5 million. I like the place. I like the downtown. In my opinion, reason I have never looked at moving out here is their here, real estate price is a little bit too much for what you're getting, in my opinion. A lot of the real estate and a lot of the lots here are pretty good size, so that's a plus. But I just don't think it's worth what they're selling things for. But some people do, that's why they're buying them. Number 5, Kennebunkport, Maine. This coastal town is in the southern section of Maine, just south of Portland, Maine. George H.W. Bush, the 41st president, he had a house here for a long time. Last time I was here, his son was in the office. Actually, I think it was 2012, so he had been out of office about 3 years. This is a beautiful little town. It's almost like I want to say like a museum piece. You go there and look around. Their main street is pretty cool. The street here is called Dock Square, or State Route 9, and it goes to both sides. It's got a little bridge in the middle. It's a really nice place. A lot of bed and breakfast type areas, great food, great restaurants, plenty of places to shop, and some art galleries. This is another good place they could film a great romantic comedy. If you want to move here, you can't. It's too expensive. Starting home prices here are $1.2 million. That's the lowest. It's almost like everything you look at here, it's mandatory that it's cute and adorable. That's all there is to it. Number 4, Jamestown, California. Surprise, surprise, something nice is in California. It's actually the first of 2 scheduled for this video. I know that is going to upset a lot of you who just think California is the absolute worst place on the planet. I mean, it's got some serious problems, but not having any great small towns isn't one of them. Jamestown is a little north of Yosemite, and it is east of Stockton, California. It's got an old railroad there. They've got a lot of historic sites like the Jamestown Hotel, and their main street is actually called Main Street. Now, there's a difference between western small towns and eastern and, let's say, New England small towns. They look a little more rustic. That's just how things are out here in the West. So they don't have all these cute buildings from the late early 1800s. A lot of the older buildings here are made completely of wood, not brick or stone like back east, but they're still pretty cool nonetheless. If you want to buy a home in Jamestown, everything comes with a little bit of property here, at least like an acre in most cases. But homes that are decent and livable start around $400,000 and work their way up. And if you're wondering, this is in Eastern California. It's far removed from all the nonsense you see in the news. They have any homeless there that aren't just passing through? I'd be amazed. Number 3, Solvang, California. Solvang is a really neat place. One of my mom's favorite places to go back when I was a kid. Her and my dad were going away for the weekend. They were going to Solvang. This town is north of Santa Barbara, sort of halfway between Santa Barbara and the Vandenberg Air Force Base. It's known for its Danish-style architecture and many wineries. They've got a lot of wine up here. That's what a lot of people go here for, the tasting rooms. The whole place is just decked out on this whole Dutch theme. It's pretty cool. It's like going to Europe without getting on a plane or a boat. It's not that extreme, but it's pretty cool. Their main street is called Mission Street, and this is a great place. If you don't want to move there, go visit it for a weekend sometime. It's really neat. If you want to buy a home here, the houses start at $1.5 million, and they go all the way up to like $9 million. There's one $9 million, and it's got 43 acres. They got a lot of $2 million homes that like have half an acre or a quarter of an acre. Number 2, Ellsworth, Maine. Back to Maine we go in the small town of Ellsworth. Ellsworth is a small town just inland from Bar Harbor. It's got Leonard Lake here. The Union River flows right through town. It is a nice place to live. Beautiful area. Bar Harbor's so nice it looks fake, and Ellsworth is just up the road, and it's pretty cool too. Now, Main Street in Ellsworth is called Main Street, and the area you're looking for to find that cool Main Street, that's going to be just east of the Union River. Like all of New England small towns, they got great old brick buildings, just amazing masonry. These buildings are going to last another 200 years. The town's adorable, the surrounding scenery is amazing. This is a great place to live, and if you want to do that, it's not going to set you back that far. You can get decent livable homes right now for around $350,000 to $450,000. Now they go up from there obviously, but you could get a nice livable home for $350,000. And considering there's water all around here, there's a good chance you're walking distance from a river or a lake. All right, before we get to number 1, we're going to try something different. I've noticed in the analytics that a lot of you drop off the video as soon as I say what number 1 is. So we're going to make number 1 really brief, because most of you aren't sticking around for the explanation. All right, on to number 1. And number 1, Burlington, Vermont. Yep, back to New England we go with Burlington, Vermont. Bernie Sanders was the mayor of this town forever, and it is a cute New England town. City, whatever you want to call it. Their main street is called Church Street. It is a walk-only street, meaning they blocked it off and you could walk from shop to shop, have coffee, whatever you want to do. If you want to buy a home in Burlington, your starting money is going to be about $400,000. This is an amazing town with amazing people and amazing scenery. It sits on Lake Champlain, right across from New York State, and not too far south from the Canadian border. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go out, have a great day, and be nice to each other.